Doing. This is the second video on division, sharing equally, dividing a 2-digit number by a 1-digit number. And remember, you can pause me at any point if you need to and grab a piece of paper or pen. The first question, as you can see on the board, is a picture of 3 people on boats, looking quite relaxed actually, and lots of lanterns. And it says, how many lanterns were released by the boats? And then B, the same number of lanterns were released by each boat. How many lanterns were released by each boat? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how you could answer this. And we're going to still use our part whole method. And as you can see at the top, we've got our 42. Oh, sorry, I should have said to you, I've counted those lanterns. There are 42 lanterns. So if you got that right, well done. So there are 42 lanterns. And if we partition that, 42, of course, is made up into 4 10s, 40, and 2 1s. Now, the second part of that question said the same number of lanterns were released by each boat. How many lanterns were released by each boat? And remember, there were 3 boats. So now we're sort of asking ourselves, what is 42 divided by 3? Now, if we stick with that same part whole method where we split it up into 4 10s and 2 1s, that's quite tricky to do because you'd then be saying to yourself, what is 40 divided by 3? And then what is 2 divided by 3? So this is where you need to get your thinking caps on, because we're going to draw on, obviously, our knowledge of multiplication, but we're going to start exchanging, because I think instead of saying 42 is 4 10s and 2 1s, because I'm working in my 3 times tables, because I'm sharing it between 3 boats, I am thinking I'm going to make my part whole model look like this one, which is 3 10s and 12 1s. So I've exchanged one of my 10s up here and I've moved it over into my 1s. So instead of it being 4 10s, I've now got 3 10s. And instead of it being 2 1s, I now have 12 1s. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to think in my 3 times tables. And I'm in my head, I'm subconsciously thinking 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, etc., etc. And that's what we're kind of the next step, if you like, in this unit of work is thinking about partitioning numbers using our part whole, but not necessarily just breaking it down into 10s and 1s. And this is, again, where your knowledge of times tables is going to come to the fore, because the more you know in terms of times tables, the easier this will be, because you'll begin to just see patterns and you'll be able to say to yourself, yes, 30 is easily divisible by 3, as is 12. So let us use this part whole method to answer the question. So let's do exactly what we were doing last time. We're going to divide our 10s first. So 3 10s divided by 3 is, of course, 1 10. So 30 divided by 3 is 10. And then if we look at our 1s, we're going to say to ourselves, 12 1s divided by 3 is 4 1s. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And then, of course, don't forget that you need to add up those 2 answers. So the last part is to say to yourself, right, I need to add my 10 and my 4, which, of course, is 14. So the actual overall answer is 42 divided by 3 is 14. There were 14 lanterns released by each boat. Now I'm going to do one more question with you, and then again I'm going to point you in the direction of some questions in the Power Maths books where you can have a go. And as you can see up here, it says there are 36 people waiting to get on 2 buses. The same number of people get on each bus. How many people get on each bus? Now, what you have to think about today, Willow class, is that we might do it differently, okay? It doesn't matter, because when you're partitioning the numbers, how your brain works is not necessarily how somebody else's works. So some of you may decide to say to yourself, 36 is 3 10s and 6 1s. Some of you may, just to maybe make it a little bit easier, is to say 36 is 2 10s, 20, and 16 1s. And if we use this example here, and let's just do this one together, 2 10s divided by 2 would be 1 10. So 20 divided by 2 is 10. And then over here, 16 ones divided by 2. And this again is where you'll probably be thinking of your 2 times tables, because you're probably shouting at me going, it's 8, because 2 times 8 is 16. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. And again, Willow class, I imagine your handwriting is much, much better than mine. So 10, the last step, don't forget, is to add those 2 numbers together. 10 plus 8 equals, why do I keep doing a little bit of a loop there? Do you know what? I'm going to try and delete that. Let's see if I can delete that and have another go. I'm going to have to delete the whole thing. Right, let me go back. And if you make a mistake with your numbers, then just rub them out. Do you know what? It's done it again. I think you should all have a house point for being neater than I am. 10 plus 8 is 18. So 36 divided by 2 is 18. Now, some of you may have been able to just do that straight away in your head, and you may have known that 36 divided by 2 is 18, and that's absolutely brilliant. But if you just get into the habit of doing the part whole method and then just breaking it down into tens and ones and then adding it together, what you'll find is when we move on to the bigger numbers, it might just be slightly easier. So at the bottom here, I'm just trying to basically demonstrate that when you partition numbers, there's different ways of doing it. So 65 divided by 5, you could do as 60 and 5, or you could do like this part whole method is showing you is 50. And my question to you would be, what are the answer here? What would I have to fill in here to make that correct? And of course, the answer is 15. And then looking at the next one, 75, if I was partitioning that, I would have 50 here. And what would I have over here? Of course, I would have 25, which I'm struggling to get in the box. There we go, 25. And over here, 85 divided by 5 would be 50. And do you know the answer? 35. Well done. And what I'd quite like you to do is see if you can finish off using these part whole models, to answer those questions. Okay? So A, 65 divided by 5, 75 divided by 5, and 85 divided by 5. And then it would be really good, again, if you go to your 3B Power Maths, because on pages 30, 31, and 32, there's some more questions for you to have a go at and answer. As always, it does get slightly trickier when you get onto the 4, 5, and the reflect. So just see how you get on, and please ask if you don't understand. What I'm trying to do is give the answers out when I actually give out the work, so your parents can actually see the answers as you're going through it. Good luck, Willow class, and you're doing absolutely brilliant, and I'm so proud of you. Okay, keep up the hard work, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.